Hi everyone, welcome to Mulanga WC Tutoring with me, MK. We will be doing a whole lot of maths, a whole lot of physical sciences. We are making maths and science great again. And today we will be doing the Western Cape September 2024 Maths Paper 1 question paper. This video will only we will only be going through question 1, and there will be other videos. We're going to make a series throughout this whole paper, and then we're going to do other videos where we'll be diving into concepts individually. It's a maths and science initiative brought by Mulanga WC Tutoring with Menir MK, and let's get down to it. So we're looking at question 1, and we'll start with 1.1. The first question there is 1.1.1, which is x minus 1, 2x minus 6 equals to 0. Now, you will notice that you are given a single term, one term, which is equals to 0, which means the expression has already been factorized. The expression has already been factorized, so we don't need to remove the brackets. We just have to carry on with the factorization. And what we would do first, we would say x minus 1 equals to 0, or 2x minus 6 equal to 0. And here we will have x equals to 1. It will have 2x equals to 6. As we know that every time a number crosses the equal sign, its sign changes. Then for this one, we'll divide by 2 both sides, and we'll get x equals to 3. Those are our two solutions. Moving on to the next one, 1.1.2. You will notice that all question papers have the same structure, if not similar, right? They can swap the questions around, but you will always find the same type of questions. Now, with 1.1.2, you will notice that it says x squared minus 7x minus 7 is equals to 0, correct to 2 decimal places. That only means one thing. It means that the expression cannot be factorized. Therefore, we have to use the quadratic formula. Now, why can't it be factorized? Because there's no factors of 7 that will add up to 7. The factors of 7 is 7 and 1. So regardless of how you put the signs, it will never add up to 7. It's either it gives you plus or minus 8, or it gives you plus or minus 6. The difference between 7 and 1, or the sum between 7 and 1. Now, because it cannot be factorized, we have to use the quadratic formula, which says x is equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. The first thing you must do is find your variables. What is a? A is 1. What is b? B is equals to minus 7. What is c? C is equals to minus 7 as well. Then we substitute. Remember, every time you substitute, you must put things in brackets. Minus into minus 7 plus or minus square root of minus 7 squared minus 4 by 1 by minus 7 again, divided by 2 multiplied by 1. And you will get two solutions. One is with the positive sign and one is with the negative sign. What you get is x is equals to 7 plus square root of 7 squared is 49. 7 squared is 49 minus 4 times minus 7 is plus 28. It's plus 28. Then divided by 2. The other solution, this will be your x1, and then your x2 will be 7 minus root of 49 plus 28 divided by 2. You need not to simplify, you just have to put everything in your calculator and get the answer. I don't have a calculator with me, and I am afraid if I open the calculator, the video might end up being too long. So the only thing left is to compute with your calculator and get the answers. Therefore, 1.1.3, we have 6x squared plus 7x greater than 5. Now, this is an inequality. So with an inequality, we must remember that if we are given fx is greater than 0, it means above x axis. If we're given fx less than 0, it means below x axis. And if we're given fx equals to 0, it means on the x-axis. On the x-axis. And this can be combined to give us greater or equal to or less or equal to. Now, the first order of business is to write it in its standard form, where we get 6x squared plus 7x is greater minus 5 is greater than 0. Now, this here is your fx. Now, in order to find the values of x, we must then use critical values. You are supposed to write critical values when you change the equation. What are we changing? 6x squared plus 7x minus 5 equals to 0, because we are not using the inequality sign. Now, from this, we can either use quadratic formula again, or factorize. Right, now the safest route is to always use the quadratic formula, and as I've already mentioned, I don't have a calculator, so I'm not going to use the quadratic formula. I'm going to factorize the expression. Now, to factorize this expression, factors of 5 is 5 and 1, so that means, and factors of 6x squared can either be 6x and 1x or 3x and 2x, but I am going to find the factors that will give me the middle term, which is 7x, and these factors are 3x, 2x, and if I multiply 3 by 1 and 2 by 5, the middle sign is positive, so the bigger number has to be positive, and then the smaller number has to be negative. You will notice that I will get 3x multiplied by 2x is 6x squared. 3x multiplied by minus 1, I get minus 3x. And then 5 multiplied by 2x, I get positive 10x. When you add this together, you get a positive 7x, which is the middle term. So therefore, this has been factorized. And then again, 3x plus 5 is equals to 0, or 2x minus 1 is equals to 0. Two solutions. And the first solution is 3x is equals to minus 5x equals to minus 5 over 3. 2x is equals to 1, or x equals to 1 over 2. So your critical values become x equals to minus 5 over 3, x equals to 1 over 2. From this, remember, your fx is a parabola. Fx is a parabola, which means that we have to do a sketch, right? We must sketch. We notice that a is equals to 6, which means that a is greater than 0, therefore the graph will be smiling, right? If our a was negative, if a is less than 0, we notice that the graph is sad, which means it faces negative y values, right? But in this case, our a is equals to 6, therefore it is positive, and therefore our graph is smiling. Therefore our graph is smiling. Sorry about that, I touched the earpods and it started playing music. Right. Now, to sketch the graph, we will then just a few tricks there. Have that, and our graph is smiling. And then we have our minus 5 over 2 and our 1 over 2. It's actually 5 over 3. Sorry about that. Then we look at it and say, oh, what did it say? It said fx must be greater than 0. Therefore, we're looking for above. We're looking for above, which is the area here, because this is our x-axis. Therefore, this happens when x is greater than 1 over 2, or when x is less than minus 5 over 3. Done. 1.1.4, we have 1 equals to minus 6 over square root of x plus 2 plus square root of x plus 2. Now, you'll notice that there's two, I like to call them problems, because you have to address them first before you get to the solutions. You have two problems there. Problem number 1, you have a square root. You have a square root, which means that you have to square both sides. And then you have x in the denominator, which means that you have to multiply by the denominator. Now, if I multiply everything by the denominator, 1 times square root of x plus 2 equals to minus 6 over square root of x plus 2 multiplied by square root of x plus 2 plus square root of x plus 2 multiplied by square root of x plus 2. You will look at it and you will realize that, okay, this is square root of x plus 2. This cancels this. Therefore, I have minus 6. And that will give me plus x plus 2. Why? Because square root of a multiplied by square root of a is a. And then we'll then say we have square root of x plus 2, group like terms, is x minus 4, because minus 6 plus 2 is minus 4. Now we can do the square both sides, and you will notice that we have x plus 2 equals to x minus 4 multiplied by x minus 4, and you do your FOIL, you will have x plus 2 equals to x squared minus 4x minus 4x plus 16. Move everything to one side, you have 0 equals to x squared minus 8x plus 16 minus x minus 2. 0 is equals to x squared minus 9x plus 14. Again, we're grouping like terms, 8 minus 8x and minus x, 16 and minus 2. Now we have to factorize this again. Two options, factorize or use quadratic. Use quadratic is safe formula. But again, I will opt to factorize. 0 is, I have the factors of 14, which is 7 and 2, or 14 and 1. And the only ones that can give me 9 is 7 times 2 or 14 times 1. These two can never give me 9, the middle term, so I'm going to use x7, x2. What is the sign? 14, so they both need to be negative, and therefore they will give me minus 9. Right, therefore I have x minus 7 is equals to 0, x minus 2 is equals to 0, and x equals to 7, or x equals to 2. And we are done. The next question, we're moving to 1.2 now. is a simultaneous. Solve for x and y simultaneously, which means you're going to get two solutions for x, two solutions for y. Why are we getting two solutions? Because the other equation is a quadratic equation. You have a linear equation and a quadratic equation. Your linear equation is 6y plus 2x equals to 4, and your quadratic equation is x squared plus xy equals to 4. What I normally do is the linear equation is always equation 1 and the quadratic equation is always equation 2, because the linear equation is easier to manipulate. It's easy to make subject of the formula in the linear equation. Now the next question is, which one do we make subject of the formula? Do we make y or do we make x? Now that depends. If I make y subject of the formula, I'm going to get fractions. If I make y subject of the formula, I'm going to get fractions, because y equals to 4 minus 2x divided by 6. But if I make x subject of the formula, I get 2x equals to 4 minus 6y divided by 2 divided by 2. Divided by 2, I get x equals to 2 minus 3y. And this is going to be our equation 3. Now this is also equation 3, but I am opting not to use this. Avoid fractions. Avoid fractions. Now the next step is substitute equation 3 into equation 2. Now, what do we mean by that? We mean that the equation where you have subject of the formula must be substituted into equation 2, which is right there. Don't substitute 3 in 1, because you will be substituting 1 in 1. Right? So always use the one that you haven't used yet. So we've used 1 to make 3, so we're going to put 3 in 2. So it's 3 into 2, and we'll have x squared plus xy equals to 4. And then we put x, it's 2 minus 3. Y, every time you substitute, put in brackets, plus 2 minus 3y multiplied by y equals to 4. Notice that you have what we call a double factor, right? So which means it's 2 minus 3y plus y into 2 minus 3y minus 4. Then we'll have 2 by 2 is 4. 2 by minus 3, it's minus 6y. Minus 3y by 2, it's minus 6y again. And then minus 3y by minus 3y, it's positive 9y squared, plus y multiplied by 2 is 2y. Y multiplied by minus 3y, it's minus 3y squared minus 4 equal to 0. Now we group like terms. When we group like terms, we notice that 4 and 4 cancel. 4 and 4 cancel. And then we also notice that we have minus 6y plus 2y, which means we have minus 6, that's minus 12, plus 2, that is minus 10. So we have minus 10y. We have 9y squared minus 3y squared, which means we have positive 6y squared equals to 0. Therefore, it's 6y squared minus 10y equal to 0. Before you do any factorizing, always check for common factor. Do we have a common factor? Yes. Y is our common factor, so we have y into 6y squared divided by y minus 10y divided by y equals to 0. Therefore, we have y into 6y minus 10 equals to 0. Our y is either equals to 0 or 6y equals to 10, because 6y minus 10 is also equals to 0. Therefore, y is equals to 10 over 6, which is the same as 5 over 2, which is the same as 5 over 2. From here, then use y to find x. What do we mean? Sub y into number 3. Y x is equals to, we had it there, our 3 said x is equals to 2 minus 3y. Therefore, x equals to 2 minus 3 by 0, or x equals to 2 minus 3 by 5 over 2. By 5 over 2. Why is it 5 over 2? Because we've simplified the other y, right? So when we use y as 5 over 2, is it 2 or 3? Oh, big mistake. This is very common. This is very common. Even when at MK is making the mistakes, it's not 2, it's 3, because I'm not using a calculator. So guys, make sure that you always use the calculator. Even for the easiest of calculations, use the calculator. It's 5 over 3. Even here it's 5 over 3. Therefore, we'll get x is equals to 2, or x is equals to 2 minus 5 equals to minus 3. Sorry about that. We are new at this. We will be making mistakes, but we aim to make improvements. We will do better. We will have a calculator next time, comrades. We'll have a calculator next time. Right, 1.3, square root of 3, square root of 48 minus 4x to the power, so the 4 to the power x plus 1 divided by 2 to the power 2x. I've already seen 3 rules. 3 rules of algebra here. Rule number 1, square root of a multiplied by square root of b is equal to square root of a multiplied by b. Rule number 2, a to the power of m multiplied by a to the power of n is the same as a to the power of m plus n. Law of exponents. When we multiply numbers of the same base, we add exponents. I've also seen the power of a power. A to the power of n all to the power of m is the same as a to the power of n multiplied by m. Now, knowing the rules, then it's easier for me to apply. Now, the question is simplified, which means there's no equal sign, and therefore your equal signs must be on the left. This is equals to square root of 3 times 48 minus. When you have a rule of exponents, it goes both ways. You can use it to go to a single product, or you can use it to go back to many factors. Therefore, I opt to go back, so I will have 4 to the power x multiplied by 4 to the power 1 divided by 2 to the power 2 all to the power of x. And then I will have square root of 3 times 48, so that is 120 plus 8 times 3, it's 16, it's 24, therefore it's 148. Square root of 148 minus 4 to the power x multiplied by 4 divided by 4 to the power x. And 4 to the power x cancels 4 to the power x. I have square root of 148 minus 4, and I think the square root of 148 is 12, if I'm not mistaken. So I have square root of 12 times 12 minus 4. Now there is another rule. Square root of a multiplied by a is a. Therefore, I have 12 minus 4, and the answer is 8. Amen. All right. Moving on to 1.4. Now, this is the Achilles heel of question 1. Always, the last question in question 1 is always a bit tricky because it takes a different concept and introduces it to algebra. As you can see here, they're saying fx equals to 3, x minus 1 squared plus 5, gx equals to 3. Now, that means we've moved on from algebra. We're in the functions domain. Right, which makes it a bit challenging. It's a high order question, right? Not everyone is meant to get this one, right? You get this one, you are very close to getting almost everything in the paper, right? But of course, we're here to show that everything is possible, not to show that it is impossible. We are in the business of helping people learn, and we are in the business of making maths and science great again. Now, the first question here, is it possible for the graphs of f and g to intersect? Give a reason for your answer. Now, guys, this is not English. And it's most importantly not physical science. Your reasons here are not based on your English skills. They're based on your mathematics skills. Right. So that means your reason must be mathematical rather than wordy. Or you're using fancy English. No, we don't do that here. Right. We must then look at it in terms of mathematics. What is happening? We have a parabola. We have a horizontal line. Now, you will notice that the parabola has a turning point at 1:5. It has a turning point at 1:5, which means range is y greater or equal to 5. Why is it greater or equal to 5? Because a is greater than 0. So the graph is smiling. It's looking up. It starts at the turning point going up, right? Turning point up. Horizontal line, it means this line only touches y equals to 3. That's your gx. Now, if the other graph is starting above 5, which you find 5 here and upwards, that means these graphs will never touch. They don't touch, right? Therefore, now to answer the question, right, is it possible for the graphs of f and g to intersect? No. Why? Because range of fx is y greater or equal to 5 and gx equals to 3. Another way you could have done this, if you lacked the skills to understand functions completely, you could have equated, right? Equate the equations and see if we have a solution, right? Fx equals to gx. Possibilities, right? Now you have 3x minus 1 squared plus 5 equals to 3. Any value of x gives an answer greater than 5. Any value of x gives, so because there's a square, if you put a negative x, it still comes back positive. If you put a positive x, it still comes back positive. So any answer, any value of x will always give a value greater than 5. Right? The smallest value possible for fx is 5. And therefore, it will never be equal to 3. Right? Impossible. So the graphs never intersect. Right? The graphs never intersect. There's no values of x where this expression will be equal to 3. Moving on, 1.5. 4.2. Determine the values of k for which fx equals to gx minus k as two unreal roots. Now this again is in the domain of another concept, which is numbers. Right, this is numbers. In numbers, we learned that a quadratic expression ax squared plus bx plus c, right, has either real roots, non-real roots, right, or in the real roots there's a possibility of two unequal roots or two equal roots, right? What does this mean? We have something called the discriminant, which is given by delta is equals to b squared minus 4ac, and we learned that delta is equal to 0 means equal roots, delta is less than 0 means none are real, right, or undefined, right, undefined. Then delta is greater than 0 means two real unequal roots. And to close this, right, that means we need to find our delta from the equation we're given. We're given fx equals to gx minus k, so it's 3x minus 1 squared plus 5 equals to 3 minus k. We must rewrite this in standard form. We'll get 3 x minus 1 plus 5 minus 3 plus k equals to 0. Then we get 3 into x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus 2 plus k equals to 0. We get 3x squared minus 6x plus 3 plus 2 plus k equals to 0. So we get 3x squared minus 6x plus 5 plus k equals to 0. Now let's identify our variables. This is a, this is b, this is c. Now for it to have a real unequal root, the discriminant must be greater than 0. Discriminant must be greater than 0, so b squared minus 4ac must be greater than 0. What is your a? A is equals to 3, b is equals to minus 6, and c is equals to 5 plus k. Which means that you have your minus 6 squared minus 4 by 3 by 5 plus k must be greater than 0. We're solving for k. 6 squared is equals to what? 6 plus 6, 12, plus 12, it's 24. I really wish I had a calculator right about now. So unprepared, many of them. Okay, 6 times 6 is 36. Damn it. So it's 36 minus 4 times 3, that I know is 12, minus 12, 5 plus k greater than 0. So 36 goes to the other way, or everything here goes the other way. So it's 36 greater than 12, 5 plus k. Right. The reason why I moved the negative 12, I'm avoiding to divide by a negative. Remember, if you divide by a negative, the sign changes. If you divide by a negative, the sign changes. If it's greater than, it becomes less than. If it's less than, it becomes greater than. So therefore, it's 36 divided by 12 greater than 12, 5 plus k divided by 12. 12 cancels 12, and 36 divided by 12 is 3. Is greater than 5 plus k. Therefore, 5 goes the other way, is 3 minus 5 must be less than k, for minus 2 greater than k. So therefore, when k is less than minus 2, we'll have 2 unequal real roots. But guys, we're gonna have videos doing all these type of questions independently, where we're just dealing with 1.1.1, when dealing with just 1.1.2, and so on. This is just an intro, and also to check how you guys receive this. Apologies for the unprofessionalism in terms of the music playing, in terms of me not having a calculator. But again, I urge you to always use your calculator to do the smallest thing. Minus 2 times minus 3. Put it in the calculator. Why? Because you might just forget that negative multiplied by negative is positive. And this is a wrap. It's been a journey, and we are looking forward to seeing more and more of you guys learning from this and asking us questions. Amen.